So you're thinking about moving inside the loop here in Houston, Texas? Well, don't, unless you can handle what I'm about to tell you. Today, I'm covering everything you need to know before you make that move. And yes, I'm going to cover the one thing nobody wants to talk about. Is it actually safe inside the loop? So stick around because that one's coming up soon. We'll also get into the heat, the bugs, the cost of living, the traffic, the people, and the housing you're actually going to find. And you're going to hear it directly from real Houstonians on the street about the one thing they already can't stand about living here. My name is Armando. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in Houston, Texas, and I help people buy, sell, relocate, and invest inside the loop and all over the Houston area. So if you're thinking about making this move, I can help you out with that. First off, there is a lot to love about living inside the Loop 610. I'm going to be honest with you. I love this city, y'all. Inside the Loop has a completely different energy than the suburbs out past the Beltway 8. You've got the Heights, Montrose, Rice Village, the Museum District, baby, Midtown, and Edo, East Downtown. You've got world-class food from every culture you can imagine, packed into a 5-mile radius. You've got the Texas Medical Center, the largest medical complex on the earth, sitting right in the middle of it. And when I bring clients in from out of state, this is the part of Houston that changes their mind about the whole city. It's walkable, it's got character. The old bungalows and the new builds sit side by side. And it doesn't feel like the Houston people picture when they've never been here before. But like anywhere, if you got a pro, you've also got a con. And your greatest strength can also be your greatest weakness. That's what we're covering today. We're getting into the things people don't like to talk about. I'm not bringing you a fluff piece. So let's start with the obvious one, the weather. This is the one thing people love about Houston until they actually live through a summer here. June through September, we're talking highs of 95 to 102 degrees almost every single day. But here's the number that actually matters, the heat index. With our humidity sitting above 70% most summer days, that heat index regularly crosses 110 degrees. Actually, the humidity is really good for your skin. It helps you sweat and get all the impurities out. I guess that's my guess, right? So there is no relief at night. Overnight lows barely drop into the high 70s and the low 80s. The concrete and asphalt soak up that heat all day and release it slowly all night long. So you never really get a break from June to September. Here's the good news though. That brutal stretch is really about 4 months. Houston gives you a genuine spring and genuine fall. March, April, October, November are some of the best weather you'll find anywhere in the country. On top of that, we sit in hurricane season, June 1st through the end of November. Peak risk is August and September. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. Houston floods a lot, even when a storm never makes landfall anywhere near us. We had Hurricane Harvey in 2017, dropped over 60 inches of rain on parts of this region in 4 days. This is the most rainfall ever recorded from a single storm in US history. And it's not just hurricanes. Our flat terrain means flash flood warnings happen multiple times a year, hurricane or not. So, case in point, if you're sitting on a feeder road and all of a sudden it dumps rain for a good 10 to 15 minutes, you're almost in a danger zone because those feeder roads are positioned way lower and the water can come up to the tires, maybe even to the window area. So I highly suggest you get out of there as soon as possible. And we also have these underpasses here that people actually try to go underneath where a train would cross over it. And now they've actually put in barriers to where if it rains a lot, like it has been this past summer, they'll actually put in a barrier so you don't drive underneath. There has people try to drive underneath the terrain or underneath the underpass, that was flooded and have gotten stuck. And unfortunately, many have lost their lives on making a poor decision And we had that term here, turn around, don't drown, if you think the water is any depth or any deep at all. But here's the part most people don't know. After the Hurricane Harvey, Harris County voters approved a $2.5 billion infrastructure bond, and the county has already put more than $1.5 billion of those dollars to work. We had new storm water detention, channel improvements, and buyouts of the worst flood-prone properties, which I had a property that had flooded in one of those flood-prone areas. It was a listing of mine, but at the end, FEMA ended up buying it because nobody wanted it and it was very unsafe. So that's Houston's actually investing in fixing the problem and not just hoping the next storm misses us. If you're looking inside the loop, flood risk is not evenly spread. We have some streets in Maryland, parts of the Heights, and areas near the bayous have flooded multiple times in the last decade, while blocks a half a mile away have stayed relatively dry. This is not a scare tactic, it's just reality what we have here. If you're serious about moving here, you check the flood zones and the elevation certificate on any home you're considering, no matter how much you love the neighborhood. Now, here's the upside. You never have to shovel a driveway here, and when the season finally breaks, it actually breaks. All right, we're here with Desiree. Howdy. And we're in this beautiful home, broker open, and Desiree lives inside the loop, and I'm asking her, what's the best part about living inside the loop?
Yeah, honestly, living in the loop has made my life a lot more convenient in terms of hanging out with friends, being able to just kind of go and grab a drink or go to happy hour, especially in Houston right now with restaurant week. Everybody's out and about. It's nice that everything's pretty walkable. I live in the Heights, and I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Yeah.
What restaurant are you hitting up for restaurant week?
I want to go to Hearsay on the Green.
Oh, yeah.
And I also want to go to, I think it's Aiko. I haven't been. It's a new sushi place, and I think those are my top two right now.
And what are your favorite spots to get some adult beverages?
Since I live in the Heights, I love going out in 20th Street. They just opened a new bar, Bee's Knees. It's super fun. I went last weekend for White Linen, and it was walking distance from my house. So
nice.
Awesome.
And what is one thing people get wrong that live outside the loop about people who live inside the loop?
I feel like a lot of people think that if you live in the loop, we're like gatekeeping the loop, but it's really for anybody and everybody. I grew up in the suburbs of the loop. I grew up in Sugar Land, so didn't always know where to go, but I always visited the city, and everyone's always welcoming. It's always a great vibe. And because I visited so often, I eventually realized, okay, I need to live in the loop. I need to live in the Heights. And I feel like that's a big misconception. Before I moved out here, I always assumed that I would get tired of things or there wouldn't be as many things for me to do. But now that I live here, there's always something to do.
Right, and I think people also that live in the suburbs, that they get wrong about people who live inside the loop, that there aren't too many things to do inside the loop since it's kind of contained, but it's just the opposite. Right?
I agree. There's, if anything, always something, but in a good way. If I want to have a chill night in, I can go for a walk on the bayou, or I could go walk down the street and grab a beer. It makes everything a little bit kind of a wild card. A lot of side quests happen.
And what's the best advice for someone watching this video right now, thinking about moving from outside the loop or outside the city, state, and inside the loop area?
Honestly, just being involved in different communities, whether that be in the loop, out of the loop, just kind of figuring out where you want to be. There's so many options, and just kind of having that community, asking around, definitely does help.
Awesome. And let people know about your business and where they can find you if they need.
Yeah, I work with a insurance broker, so I do a lot of home and auto insurance, and I can shop the market. I like to call myself the personal insurance shopper because I like to educate my clients as well as making sure that they know what they're paying for. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram, or you can give me a text, 281-373-4960.
Yeah, so when I help you buy the person who's watching this video to live inside the loop, you buy your home, then you call Desiree here to get
I'm always happy to help.
Insurance quotes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Want to know the real reason people pay a premium to live inside the loop? It's not just the commute, it's what's on every single block. Let's start with the restaurants. Hugo's over in Montrose, it's so good, has been serving incredible regional Mexican food out of a beautiful old 1920s building for years, and it's still one of the best meals in this entire city. Cultivar in the Heights is an Italian spot with the wood-fired pizza oven and their own garden growing right outside the kitchen. And Brasserie 19, guys, oh my gosh, Sundays are the best there. In River Oaks will give you a full French bistro experience, oysters and all, without ever leaving the loop. You're not finding any of these anywhere else on the earth. Now, let's talk about bars. Clarkwood in this chic cocktail bar over by Montrose that pumps out some of the best handcrafted drinks in the city. The Flat, tucked into Montrose, has that laid back lounge energy you're not getting at some of the corporate sports bar. And I think they still sell the flatbread pizzas there. And Permission Whiskey and Service Company in the Heights is a dark speakeasy style whiskey forward bar with close to 350 bottles on the shelf. Coffee and cafes, same story. Antidote Coffee in the Heights has been a neighborhood hangout for years. Equal parts coffee shop and beer bar. Yeah, Blended Coffee Club in Montrose is the kind of sunny little spot people plan their whole morning around. The Coffee House at West End is a 3-story historic building in the Heights with the rooftop that looks straight at downtown, baby. Catalina Coffee on Washington Avenue has been pulling espresso since 2007 and is still one of the best in the city. And Oso Coffee and Cafe over in the East End rounds it out, which is they support cycling and biking all around the city. Every one of those is one of a kind, not a drive-through chain. And then you've got the shopping, y'all. Ready? MKT in the Heights took old warehouses and turned them into a whole strip of local boutiques and vintage shops. Space Montrose is this quirky little store packed in with Houston-themed gifts you cannot get at a mall. Walk off of 19th Street in the Heights and you'll hit a stretch of antique shops that have been there for years. Real finds, not real productions. And over in River Oaks, boutiques like Hemline have been dressing this neighborhood since the 90s, tucked right alongside the bigger designer names. This is the difference. Out in the suburbs, you're picking between the same 5 chains everybody else in America has access to. Inside the loop, every block has something you cannot get anywhere else. That's not a small thing. That's actually a huge part of why people pay a premium to live here. All right, we're here with Julie. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, so why did you choose to live inside the loop over the suburbs?
I didn't. It chose me.
It chose you, all right.
I grew up in inner city, and I don't plan to ever leave.
Oh yeah. How so? Why would you not leave the city?
Everything's right here. I mean, I can get anywhere within like 15, 20 minutes from where I live, and the people are great, the food's amazing. I just don't see any reason to move to the burbs.
Yeah, and what are your top events that you like to attend while you live inside the loop?
I love going to sporting events. I went to an Astros game yesterday. I love going to work events that are all over the city, and being in, the loop, I'm able to get to all those events fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what are your top hidden gems that you like to go to inside the loop?
My favorite is 13 Celsius. It's a wine bar.
In Midtown?
Yep, and
Carolina,
I love it. And it's been my go-to since college. And
I used to live around the corner.
Oh, really?
Like literally on Elite Elgin.
Yeah, no, it's a great place and a great date night spot, or if you just want to catch up with a girlfriend.
Yeah, it used to be an old laundry.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a laundry store.
Oh, awesome.
all
Well, they
the
have
dry cleaning stuff.
they have a bread maker right around the corner. So every single time you get out of your car, it smells so good over there. And you're like, why does it smell like bread?
That's amazing. And what do you think people who don't live inside the loop get wrong about people, or I guess a misconception about living inside the loop?
Maybe that it's too crowded, but there's plenty of room for all of us.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else. Maybe they want more land, but I feel like there's tons of places in Houston, neighborhoods where you can have bigger lots.
Right.
Westview's not one of those, but Spring Branch, you have nice sized lots, and Bel Air, there's some good sized lots. Meyerland as well. So.
Right. And if you want green space, we have Memorial Park.
Exactly.
We have Discovery Green, Eleanor Tinsley. So we're in this beautiful home here in the North Side Village. So, and what would you change about the loop, about living inside the loop? Is there anything you would change?
Yes, traffic.
Traffic, roads, and infrastructure.
Yes. Well, traffic's definitely my number one, but yes.
All right. And tell us a little bit about you and your business and how people can get a hold of you for any business questions.
So I'm a title rep. I represent Damian Smith's team at Select Title River Oaks. You can always follow me at Select Julie. I actually forgot my handle.
Julie Martin.
Select Title. No,
just punch select title Houston. Ask for Julie.
Yes, absolutely.
She'll set you up.
Or sign up for Select Title River Oaks on Instagram, and you can find me.
So again, just like Desiree with homeowners insurance, I'll help you find and buy a home here inside the loop or wherever you want.
And close Houston, with me.
And close with Julie. Let's go. All right, thanks again. So next up, the bugs and the wildlife. If you're moving here from up north, buckle up, because this was an education for a lot of my clients to learn. This is the trade-off for basically never seeing snow and getting a long growing season. So let's start with the mosquitoes, because everybody asks me. Our humidity and standing water after storms makes us close to ideal mosquito territory. If you live near a bayou or in a low-lying area, and yes, they'll find you anywhere. And if you're up on higher, well-drained ground inside the loop, it's a lot more manageable. Next, I know this is gonna make your skin crawl. The cockroaches, I'm not gonna dance around this. I'm not afraid of cockroaches, but oh man, they can get a big size, huge size. So East Texas has one of the highest concentrations of roaches anywhere in the country. And Houston's warmth and humidity is a big reason why. You'll see the big ones, the ones people call tree roaches, especially after a heavy rain. So after a heavy rain, expect them to be around the doors, so you probably want to spray around the doors and the entryways and all that. But they're mostly harmless. But if you've never seen one fly across the yard or the room, unfortunately, if they get inside your home, it will get your attention quick. Then you've got the fire ants, y'all, which builds mounds in yards all over the city. And if a kid or a pet steps on one, well, it doesn't turn out to be a fun afternoon after that. We've also got ticks, fleas, termites, and in older loop area homes, you want to get a termite inspection before you buy, not after. Now, for the bigger stuff, we've got brown recluse and black widow spiders, scorpions in some areas, and yes, timber rattlesnakes, and if you're anywhere near the woods or bayou trails. And Houston has alligators, mostly out in the bayous and the greenbelts, not wandering down Westheimer per se, but they're out there if you go looking for water. And my rule when I'm with my own family is simple. If it's in a bayou, a retention pond, or anything that isn't a pool, we assume something's living in it and we definitely leave it alone. Now, it's not all the creepy crawlies I just talked about. There's a softer side to the wildlife here too. Armadillos, raccoons, And possums show up in loop area yards more than people expected, usually after dark. And I've seen cute little turtles walk across the hike and bike trails, which I get off my bike and gently put them in the grass towards the bayou so they don't get hit by any walkers, runners, or cyclists. I regularly see whooping cranes and a handful of other medium-sized birds gliding along the water, and some of them nocturnal, and just some of them show up more in the afternoon. It's one of those favorite parts of living this close to the water, and none of this is meant to scare you off. It's just the trade-off for 300 plus days of usable outdoor weather and winters that barely register. Now let's get into the topic on everyone's mind right now. Cost of living. Cha-ching, baby. Overall, Houston still runs below the national average. And depending on the source, we're sitting somewhere around 6 to 7% cheaper than the national average across the board. Houston citywide runs about 20% below the national average. Groceries run close to 9% below the national average. Healthcare runs about 4% below that national average. And if you're renting instead of buying, here's the real number straight from our own HAR, Houston Association of Realtors, MLS data. As of June 2026, the average lease price for a single family home across greater Houston is $2,388 a month, basically flat compared to a year ago. Leasing activity is actually up, with single-family leases climbing over 9% year over year. So there are more homes to choose from right now than there were last summer. Homes are also sitting on the market a little longer before they lease, about 40 days now versus 35 about a year ago, which tells you renters have a bit more room to negotiate than they did in 2025. Inside the Loop specifically, expect to land on the higher end of that number. Smaller lots, older housing stock, and higher demand all push Loop area lease prices above the regional average. And those numbers sound great and all, and the city-wide numbers, and they're actually real. Inside the Loop is its own market, and it behaves nothing like the suburban numbers you'll find on a national cost of living calculator. The overall Houston median sale price right now is sitting in the $330,000 to $350,000 range. Inside the Loop, that number changes fast. In the Heights, the average sale price over the last year is running right around $860,000, and that's up 6% from a year ago, with median sold prices for single-family homes sitting in $770,000 to $775,000 range. And inventory is tight enough that homes are only sitting on the market about a little bit over a month. Move a little further into the Loop, and the numbers keep climbing. In Montrose, single-family homes are averaging right around $900,000. In West University, that number jumps to just over $2 million. And in River Oaks, average sale prices are running close to $3.8 million. So if you're picturing a brand new build inside the Loop for $350,000, I'm gonna need you to reset that expectation right now. Most of the older looped area housing stock was built decades ago. They have plenty of character, plenty of charm, but plenty of those homes that need updated electrical, plumbing, or a full gut renovation. Now let's talk taxes, because this is where actually Texas wins. Texas has no state income tax, no tax on your pension, no tax on your 401k distributions or Social Security. But here's the trade-off. I'm not gonna hide it from you. Property taxes here are some of the highest in the country. $400,000 home inside Harris County can run $8,000 to $10,000 a year in property taxes before any exemptions. With the homestead exemption, that drops to closer to about $7,000, which still isn't nothing. Insurance costs here have been climbing too because of hurricane and flood risk. Heading into 2026, Texas premiums are projected to rise around 3%, which is a real number. but a manageable one. If your roof or your home is in good shape, this isn't usually a deal breaker. And if they're not, expect your insurance company to make that very clear to you. Now, let's get into everyone's favorite topic, the traffic. Houston currently ranks around 7th to 8th worst for traffic congestion among major US cities. Oh my gosh, and I know it. And we have construction on I-10 right now that's gonna last for years. The average Houston driver loses about 70 hours a year sitting in traffic. Oh my gosh. Better get a seat mat or a cushion for your bottom. That works out to roughly $1,289 a year per driver in lost time and extra vehicle wear. Loop 610 during rush hour is its own experience. If you're commuting from inside the loop out to the energy corridor or up to the woodlands, you're definitely gonna feel this. The good news, if you actually live and work inside the loop, is that your commute can be dramatically shorter than anyone living out past the Beltway. And a lot of my clients move inside the loop specifically to cut a 45-minute suburban commute down to 12 minutes. That's a trade-off a lot of people are making right now. Smaller lot, older homes, much shorter drive equals happy life usually at the end of the day. And as for the roads themselves, woof, inside the loop, you're gonna find a real mix. Some freshly repaved in some areas of the corridors, and some streets that need some work, literally, especially after a heavy rain season, those roads they get messed up. And it's not the pothole devastation you'd see after a Midwest winter, but you'll feel some rough patches, particularly closer to the industrial corridors and the older side streets. Let's talk about getting around without a car. Don't recommend it, but let's talk about it. Because inside the loop, this is actually a real option in a way it isn't in most of Texas. METRORail runs 22.7 miles across 3 lines. You have the red, the green, and purple line. The red line alone connects downtown, Midtown, the Museum District, Herman Park, which is pretty fun, and the Texas Medical Center. If you live along that corridor, you can generally get to work, to the Museum District, or to an Astros game without touching your car. Houston has also built out more than 400 miles of bike lanes since 2017, and a lot of that investment is concentrated inside the loop. Compared to 5 years ago, getting around the inner loop without a car has gotten dramatically easier. It's still not the New York or Chicago area feel. You'll want a car for most day-to-day errands, but it's a real option here in a way most people don't expect from Houston. Now, we're getting into the one nobody likes to talk about, crime and safety. And I have to set a ground rule here, because as a licensed agent, I legally cannot tell you whether a specific area is safe or not. That's not something I'm allowed to represent. What I can do is point you to real data and let you draw your own conclusions. Houston's PD's, police department's own numbers show a real drop recently, over a 27% drop in overall crime, a roughly 25% drop in violent crimes, and close to a 25% drop in homicides year over year. That's a meaningful trend in the right direction. At the same time, Houston as a whole still ranks as one of the higher crime major metros in the country. So I'm not gonna pretend that number doesn't exist either. Here's what actually matters more than the citywide number. Which side of the loop you're on matters far less than the specific street and neighborhood you're actually looking at. Crime data in Houston can shift block by block, not just zip code by zip code. So a citywide headline number really doesn't tell you much about any one property. My advice is the same thing I tell every client. Pull up the specific crime data for the exact street and neighborhood you're considering. using a resource like the city's own crime map, and draw your own conclusion from there. From my own experience, bringing my family inside the loop regularly, I have never personally felt unsafe in those areas we spend a lot of time in, but that's my personal experience, not a professional guarantee, and I'd encourage you to look at the actual data for yourself before you make a decision. Last thing I want to cover is the people, y'all, because this is the part statistics can't capture. Houston is one of the most diverse cities in the entire country. You'll meet people from every part of the world without leaving the loop. Is it perfect? No. It's a big city packed into a small footprint. So you're going to run into every kind of person, every kind of background, every kind of opinion. And that's just what happens when this many people live this close together. However, overall, most of the people here are very nice, very cordial, says, good morning, good evening, how the heck are you? Overall, very nice. But you're going to read comments under this video from people who love this city and people who can't stand it. Here's what I'd like you to look at. Most of what you end up experiencing here comes down to the effort you put in and the people you surround yourself with. Same as it would anywhere else. My own experience with the people inside the loop has been generally very positive. Hardworking, welcoming, proud of their neighborhoods. And that doesn't mean every day is perfect, but it means the reputation this city sometimes gets from outside doesn't match what it actually feels like to live here. And if you have any more questions about making the move inside the loop or anywhere in Houston, please reach out to me. All of my contact is listed right below in this video. My team and I would love to help you figure out what's actually the right move for you and your family. And if you know somebody considering this move, send them this video. I think it's gonna save them some guesswork. And I'm grateful for the chance to share this with you, and I'll drop a couple more videos up here that'll help you keep making this decision with real information. So click this right there. Until next time, I'll see you inside the loop. Talk soon.